Hello, everybody. How are we doing? How are we doing? I am your host, Manoli, and here we are at Manoli's Musings. Hello, hello. Well, I'm doing really good with my goal of having more episodes as I haven't released one in over a month. Doing really good here, folks. Doing really, really good. In my defense, I did start a new job, and that's kind of been keeping me busy, but I'm here now. So take it or leave it. That's what I say. You get what you get. If you guys, maybe threw a little money my way, I might have to produce some more episodes. But until then, this is unfortunately not the top priority. But it is important to me, and I still want to do it. So here I am, talking to you. How have you been? I've been fine, Manoli. Well, that's good to hear. I've been busy. I went to Florida the other earlier. I guess it was last month now. I went to Florida, and it's an interesting trip. I hadn't been anywhere in quite some time, and I went with my family, and I went to work. I worked a full day, and then I flew out that Friday and got back on Monday. And I went, and this is what happened. So I get to the airport, and I go through security, and I go through the metal thing, the metal detector. And I had to go back out. I had pre-check, so they sent me through the old one, the regular one. I had to go back out because my wallet was metal, and it set it off, so I put it in the bin. Anyway, so I get out, I grab my stuff, and I go. I go to the lounge, and, because what's the point of flying if you're not going to have a drink or two or 10 or, no, not that many. But, have a little cocktail before you fly. That's always the ritual. Everybody drinks in the airport. It could be 7:30 in the morning, and you find somebody's going to be drinking it up. But anyway, this was in the evening. It was acceptable. And so we went to the lounge, had a couple of drinks, had some hors d'oeuvres, and anyway, I go to get on the plane. Short flight, easy flight. Shouldn't be a big deal. Anyway, we're taxiing. I don't know why they call it that. We're taxiing, and the woman behind me, I don't know, she keeps turning on her. It's always behind me. It's always in my vicinity, always around me. There's always either the person next to me or behind me or whatever. I'm always involved. Anyway, so I'm sitting there minding my own business. We're taxiing. I'm listening to Monteverdi or Handel or something. I don't know. Something like that. I like to listen to that on the planes. I don't know why. Anyway, so I'm listening to my music, and then the woman behind me, she keeps pressing the help button, the flight attendant. And they make an announcement. They said, if it can wait, you need to wait till we're in the air. We're almost about to take off. I mean, we're almost to the runway. We're about to get up in the air, and that would be it. And they must be able to flip a switch because they turn her light off and then she put it back on. And I'm not trying to shame this woman, but the flight attendant goes over there. She's basically like, "What do you want?" She's like, "I gotta go to the bathroom." So she went to the bathroom, and that took some time. And so their flight got delayed because of that. And then I'm really not trying to shame this woman. I'm just trying to tell the story. So that happened. I'm sitting there, and it's always hotter on the ground for some reason because the air doesn't kick in really until you get up in the air. So we're all sweating, waiting for this lady to get out the head. And she finally does, at the lavatory, as they call it on the airplane. And she comes and she sits back down behind me, and we take off. And we're sitting there on the plane, and I know this, they're bringing the beverage cart through, and I thought, well, maybe I'll get a snack or something else, snack or a drink, most likely a drink. And anyway, the beverage cart's coming through, and I'm like, okay, I might get something. And I reach for my wallet, check my left pocket, it's not there. Check my right pocket, it's not there. And I realized what had happened is I went through security. I put my phone in the bin, I put my backpack on the belt, I put my wallet. I tried to go through, and I had to go back out and put my wallet in a separate bin. And when I left, I grabbed my phone and my backpack. And I did not grab my wallet. And even though I laid eyes on my passport earlier that day, and I thought to myself, should I bring this? Nah, I don't need it. I'm going to Florida. I didn't have my passport. So my wallet had everything with my name on it, ID, insurance card, credit cards, whatever, the whole thing. My whole life was in the wallet. I mean, thank God I had some cash. Anyway, so I'm starting to sweat now because I'm worried about my wallet, and I'm like, well, how the hell am I going to get back to Charleston whenever this trip is over? And I'm starting to sweat. I'm starting to, have a mild Manoliism, a little Manoli moment, and I hear the woman behind me as she's breathing heavily, and then she calls the flight attendant over, and I hear her say the words, "I'm gonna throw up." And literally, me and the guy next to me in unison reached in front of us into our seat, to the pocket, the thing in front of us, and we grabbed our barf bags and we just handed them back to her. Because, I mean, I'm starting to sweat, and the woman is having an episode behind me. And I mean, God bless her, but I mean, why is it always behind me? I mean, couldn't you be in front of me or across the aisle behind me? I'm in the blast zone. Are you kidding me? And she says I'm going to be sick, and so I handed her the bag, and I really didn't want to be. I didn't want to have anything to do with that, and so I don't know what the hell they did for her. They took my VIN and they pointed it back at her, and I'm like, well, hello. I mean, I'm hot too, but I thought about it for a little bit, and I'd rather be a little hot than be covered in her vomit. But the lady made it through the flight. Thank God. Thank God. Nothing else happened except for the fact that I had a little panic attack about my wallet. But it was all okay. And, the funny thing is that I sat at that lounge for 90 minutes. I sat at that lounge. The TSA, they wait until we get on the plane to make a phone call. And they ended up calling my dad. It wasn't even his stuff. Somehow they found his number, and they called him, and they said, "You left your wallet in the belts." It's like, well, it wasn't my wallet. And I went back there. I was sitting alone. Not alone. There was somebody next to me, but I had bought my flight separate. And anyway, I wasn't sitting with them is the point. So I went back there. I'm like, I think I left my wallet. I started talking. They're like, "Did you leave your wallet?" I was like, "Yeah." And I mean, this is the genius that I am. I'm such a genius. I go through. I could have just put the wallet in the backpack. I could have had my passport. I could have had something. But no, I just screwed myself yet again. Yet again, that's what I do best. That's what I do best. I'm my own worst enemy. But anyway, I did end up having a good time on the vacation, aside from the flight issue. I had a good time on the vacation. We went to Florida, went to Orlando for, I guess, what is that, 3 days? 2-3 days. And Friday, Saturday, Sunday, leave on Monday. Yeah, 3 days. And I didn't have my ID the whole time, but I was able to get my annual pass, and I went to the park. We went to Universal. Did I say that? I think I did. He's a little rusty today. Anyway, so I took Leo on all the rides. Leo's my brother. He's 7. And my sister was there. She goes to school in Florida, but she drove down and met us. And anyway, I went on all the rides. All the rides. The Harry Potter rides. I like the roller coasters. The Velocicoaster is a lot of fun. It goes about 70 miles an hour. It launches you. I like that. I like to launch. Although sometimes going up the chain hill is also fun because it builds a suspense, but the launches are really fun. It launches you. You go upside down, I think, 4 times. It does like this barrel roll thing. You think you're going to fall out into the lake, and it's like a 155-foot drop or something. The thing is great. I love it. I like the roller coasters. You feel like you're going to die, but you live. It's great. Anyway, I like the Velocicoaster. I like the Hulk. The Hulk is a classic. The Hulk's been there since 1999. Velocicoaster just opened, so they're both my favorites. I like them both. The Hulk is a classic. You go upside down, I think 7 times on that one. 7 times upside down. That's a lot. And then you got other rides. You have the Harry Potter rides are great. The Mummy is great. Always a classic. Always been a fan of that one. Great rides at Universal. And I like to walk around the park and do the whole thing. Leo has started to ride more things. He rides some of the bigger rides now. He's getting taller and taller, and he's getting braver and braver. And so I take him all the stuff. I take him on the Harry Potter rides and all that stuff. It's always a good time. always a good time. And the little guy, he likes to talk, so there's never a dull moment standing in line with Leo. That's for sure. Trying to think what else we did. We went to, we had a good time. I mean, that was really it. We rode rides, we walked around, we ate. Oh, did I eat? I ate so much. I ate and I ate and I ate. And, vacation, I want to have a cocktail, and I didn't have much luck because I didn't have my ID. And sometimes I would go to show them a picture of it, and they said, we don't care. We can't take that. I was like, well, I guess that's it then. Anyway, but a few places I managed to get through. I am 24 years old. I wasn't doing anything illegal, but even though it felt like that, it felt like I was back in high school. Oh, back in high school, but I didn't touch alcohol until I was 21. So there you go. That's for the record there. I felt like I was back in high school because people my age were doing that, but not me. No, never me. Never would do such a thing. Anyway, but we went back, and I did manage to get through TSA. They asked me some questions, and I guess I'm not supposed to talk about it. I don't know, but I managed to get through. Was the point? And on the plane back, the woman next to me, she was better than the woman behind me. She wasn't about to have a gastrointestinal disaster, which was an upgrade. But she also had some quirks about her. There were times where she looked like she was in agony. I'm like, do I smell that bad? And then she started filing her nails. And I just have to say, there should be no personal grooming on the airplane. No, none of that. No filing nails, no cutting nails, no flossing, no brushing the teeth. No, go to the bathroom. Why are you doing that next to me? I don't want your nail particles in my space. Keep it over there. Don't file your. What are you doing? No haircuts, no manicures and pedicures, no waxing, no nothing. No bodily function on the airplane. Please. Nothing. Where is the decorum? I'm just trying to mind my own business and have to deal with your nail. Anyway. Isn't that big a deal, Manoli? It is to me. It is to me. Because it's not the place for it. Do that in the privacy of your own home, or go to the laboratory. But leave me out of it, okay? Is that so much to ask? I don't want to be vomited on. I want my air vent. I don't want you filing your nails next to me, and I certainly don't want it never ends. But overall, it was a good time. I didn't really spend much time talking about the trip itself. It all kind of blurred together. When you're walking and eating and riding and walking and riding and walking and walking and walking. Must have walked 18 miles that trip. But it was a good time. It was good to see my sister, Markella. She's okay. I'm kidding. No, she's a wonderful sister. It was good to be with my family again. I hadn't been on the trip with them in quite some time, so I enjoyed it. I guess that's all I have to say about that. I thought about a funny story the other day, and this is totally a non sequitur, but it made me laugh, and I wanted to share it with you. It concerns my friend Bryce. You remember Bryce? He was on the show. We talked about airports and things. He's kind of a quirky guy. Old Brycey. But a good friend of mine. Very, very good friend of mine. I really like him. One time, and this is the ideal, this is my sense of humor. These are the things that make me laugh. Because I thought about this story the other day. I don't even remember what triggered it. But I thought about this story, and I just started cracking up laughing. And I hope you enjoy. So this was in 7th grade. I went to school with Bryce from 1st grade through high school. We went to the same college. I've known him for too long. It's really that's what I said at his wedding when I gave the toast. I said, I've known you for too long. This is it. Delete my phone number and we'll be done. But alas. Anyway, so this was in 7th grade. And we took a class trip. They took us to some camp up in the hills of North Carolina called Canoga. The whole grade went. And anyway, we were going somewhere. I don't remember. It was a campground. They had the cabins, and then they had like a basketball court. And it had like a covered roof over it. So it was open air, but it had a covered roof. Very complex concept, I know, but just bear with me here. Anyway, so they had this roof, and I don't know. There was some kind of ball was laying around. I remember the soccer ball or volleyball. I don't know what it was, and I don't know why. I never did stuff like this, but for some reason I decided I'm going to drop kick this ball. I'm going to kick the hell out of it. And so I did. And I drop kicked it. And the thing, that was the best kick I ever had. It shot up so fast, faster than I ever believed. It hit the roof. And it ricocheted off of that. And it was going even faster now. The thing must have been, the thing was like the speed of light. It was like it went into warp speed. And I launch it up into the air. It hits the roof. And then it comes crashing down. And who does it? It's Bryce right in the back of the head. So hard. He's okay, but oh man. Did that make me laugh? And he got so mad. He started yelling, "Oh, throw that! Oh, throw that!" And he started pushing people. And I didn't know what to do. I just ran away. And I guess he saw me run or somebody saw it or something. And he came and found me. And I don't know what happened. I just tried to explain it was an accident. And then the music teacher, Mr. Bab, we called him the Babinator. He settled it between us. It was an accident, honest to God, but it was a pretty funny accident. I wonder if he remembers that story. I don't think he probably doesn't remember it, but I remember it because it was funny. And, I like physical humor. I have the sense of humor of an 8-year-old boy. People falling, people getting hit with things. That's the kind of stuff I like. That's it. There's nothing funnier than that. It was a total accident, but he's fine. I'm not going to apologize for it. No, I think I apologized back then. We've moved on in our friendship. This was 7th grade. What is that? Over 10 years ago? I think I could tell the story. It's a funny story. I wonder if he remembers it. I'm going to have to ask him. Anyway, what else is going on? I've been thinking about restaurants recently. Restaurants. I talk about restaurants a lot. I guess I like to eat. Who doesn't, But I was thinking about restaurants the other day, and I was driving, and there's this place downtown, and there's always a line, and I'm like, what are you waiting in line for? I mean, what food is worth waiting in line? They go up every Sunday. They line up to go into this place. I just don't understand it. Like, what's so special about that place? For brunch? For brunch, you could go anywhere. You can make brunch at home. Why you got to stand in line at this place? I will never do that. I won't be that. I'm not that guy. I'm not the trendy guy. I don't care what's hot, what's this and what's that. I want to go somewhere where it's worth the money, where the people are treat me well, where it's a good time and a good atmosphere, and not a bunch of people trying to be, the hype. They get in with the hype and they get lost in it because they can't think for themselves. But anyway, the last one was this one. I'll tell you about it. I can't say the name of the place on the air, but if you ask me, I'll tell you exactly what it was. Because I've had it. I've had it with the new restaurants. These places open up. Oh, it's the best thing in the world. Oh, it's amazing. It's great. It's fantastic. You gotta try it. You gotta try it. Oh, this and that and this and that. And I try to wait. I think this new place, it opened up. Let's just say in a different part of town. It's not downtown, but it opened up close to downtown. I don't want to say too much because I know too many people and they might hear this or it might get back to them. And, I really try to be nice. You've done nothing, Manoli, but crap on people this whole podcast. Well, I try is the key word here. Anyway, so I go to this, the place that was hyped up. Oh, you got to try it. Okay. I gave it 8 months. I think 8, 9 months I gave it. Long time. And people were still talking about it. I was like, okay, I'll bite. I'll give it a try. It was after my voice lesson. And usually after my voice lesson, I go to 1 and 2 spots. They treat me well. They know me there. I always have a good time. It's always a good experience. But this time I said, you know what? I'll try something new. So I go to this place. It was a bad sign when I get in and I want to see at the bar. And we're on a wait. It's a Thursday night. Okay, Thursday night. Okay, whatever. I'm here now, so I may as well wait. I must have waited maybe 15 minutes. It's not so bad. I ran into some people I knew there. Nice people. They actually, when I sat down, they sat me, there wasn't a seat at the bar, which was disappointing, but there was a table near the bar. And I sat down and I actually knew the people sitting next to me. And they actually bought me a drink, which was very nice of them. And It helped alleviate some weight off of the tab there, so I really appreciated it. Anyway, but I sit down and I already having to wait. I don't like to wait. I just said I don't wait. But since I was there, it was late. I gave in. I said, you know what? I'm here. I'm just gonna do it. I didn't do it intentionally, but I did it. But it irked me. Anyway, but I'm sitting there and I'm looking at the menu and it looks pretty good stuff. I like fish and seafood and good stuff. And I said, what do you recommend? They said, well, the tuna tartare is very good. I said, okay, I'll try that. I like tuna. They said the crab cakes, they're the best in the city. And I'm thinking, okay, Charleston's been here for like over 350 years. 1670 they established Charleston. I think they've made some better crab cakes in the past 3.5 centuries, but okay, best crab cake in the city. Everyone says that. Who's everyone? Who are these people that say that? Oh, it's amazing. Oh, it's great. It's like the rabble. They just say things. Who is they? I've always wondered this. Who is they? They say. Who's they? I want to talk to they. I want to take them. I want to say, what were you thinking? I digress. Anyway, the crab cakes are the best in the city. Okay. I said it's a lot of crab, right? It's not like a bunch of filler and corn and that nonsense they put in there half the time. No, it's a bunch of crab. Okay, lump crab. Okay, very good, very good, very good. Anyway, the tuna comes, and I will admit, tuna's pretty good, but at the same time, it's not. You don't have to cook it. It's raw. I like Ramsay when he says that. Gordon Ramsay. He goes, "It's raw. It's raw." Anyway, the tuna is raw, but it was good. I like the tuna. The tuna was good. I'll give them the tuna. So it was basically 1 point in the positive, 1 point in the negative. The negative was that I had to wait, and that I couldn't sit at the bar. But the positive was that the tuna was actually pretty good. Again, you don't have to cook it. All you have to do is put it on the plate. Yeah, it's kind of hard to mess up, but I've had worse tuna, so I'll give them that one. This place shall not be named unless you ask. Anyway, so the crab cakes come. And it's 2 crab cakes with some fries. At least they gave you that for $40-something for 2 crab cakes and fries. And it was like the fries were nothing special. I mean, you have to have good fries. If you don't have good fries, that's a sign. That means something's really bad. The fries were nothing special. And the crab cakes, the best in the city, it was like they were made of clay. It was like eating a mud cake. It was disgusting. It was like falling apart. It wasn't cooked. It was like it was nasty. I don't know what it was. I don't know. It was like eating Play-Doh. It was disgusting. And that was it. That was the last one. I was like, you know what? You can't make a crab cake. I'm not coming back. And that's it. That's the last trendy place I'm going to go to. I've said it before, but this is really it. I'm not giving it. I won't go unless it's been 2 years since they've been open, and then after that, maybe I'll go. But I'm telling you, I have about 4 or 5 restaurants in this city that I like, and I like the ones that I like, and a couple other ones I throw in there every once in a while because they're fine. But the ones I really like, it's probably five, maybe 6. It ain't much, and I tell you, that place is not going to be on there. So what's the lesson here? The lesson is, you got to give it more time, Manoli. And I shouldn't have done it. I knew better than that. I knew not to trust it, and it was a total scam. I'm sorry to say it was a scam. $40-something for 2 crab cakes. I mean, if it's Dungeness crab or king crab, I don't know what kind of crab they use. I don't think it was anything special, but whatever, Manoli. Are you done? Are you done now? You had your little temper tantrum with the crab. Are you done? Are you done? I'm done. What's something you like, Manoli? I ever think about eggs recently. I think I went through a phase where I ate eggs. I ate an omelet every morning. My father, God bless him, he made me one every morning before school. And I think I ate so many omelets, I think I got egged out. But now the older I get, the more I like eggs. I like eggs. I like eggs Benedict. I like scrambled eggs. I like eggs. Omelets, of course. Who doesn't like an omelet? I like them when you get, smoked salmon that has the egg in it. I like all that. I like eggs. I don't know what it is. I think the older I get, the more I like eggs, and I don't understand. I never considered myself an egg guy, but something about them I just like. It's simple. It's just an egg. It's an egg, and and there's another thing. There's this connection, and I've had eggs on the brain, and so I realized, right? I didn't realize, but I heard about it, and I kind of validated it myself. If you watch The Sopranos, there's something with eggs, and if you pay attention, you will see it the next time you watch it. I can't explain. I mean, it's a long series, but there's several things with eggs, and also with mayonnaise, which is of course made primarily from the egg. But there's something there. It's like eggs to the Sopranos is like oranges to the Godfather. There's some kind of symbolism. Carmine Senior, he has like a heart attack while he's eating egg salad. Tony steps in a bunch of eggs at one point, and they call his cousin Tony B. Junior calls him Tony Egg. There's a thing with mayonnaise at the end of the Pine Barrens where Paulie has it on his face, and Tony gets mad. He goes, "You got mayonnaise on your chin." Mayonnaise, mayonnaise. He adds like an extra syllable. But there's a thing with eggs and mayo in The Sopranos, and this is very interesting symbolism. I don't know what it is, but I think you should watch for yourself. These are the things that you learn from this podcast, the egg connection. But yeah, I like eggs. And I went to the other place, the place where I get the crab cake Benedict with the eggs and the crab cake, and that's a good crab cake. I like that. And I was there with my mother and my brother. We're sitting in the room. And, he's back on restaurants again. Yeah, okay. It was a wonderful brunch. Everything was good. Crab cake Benedict is very good. It's a nice brunch, a nice Charlestonian brunch. The better crab cake in the city, I will say. And we're sitting there. We're sitting in this room, and I have a decent crowd. And there's this group of these six ladies walk in, and they sit down. And I don't know what was going on. I don't know if they were drunk or just, I don't know what was going on, but they sit down. It was like they just took over the whole restaurant. They were so loud. And I looked over at one point, and there were all six of them were talking. I kid you not, all six of them were talking. They were all talking at the same time. They were looking at each other and talking. I'm like, how does that work? What? Everybody's talking. Nobody's hearing anything. Nobody's listening. I'm like, what are y'all doing? Every single one of them was talking all at the same time and loud. And I could hear their conversation. And they sit down and they get more champagne and more mimosas and more bellinis. I'm like, oh my golly, it's about to get hairy. And I'm sitting there at one point. I'm eating my meal, and I look over at the table, and they're all looking at me. And then they go back about their business, and I think one of them starts laughing, and I'm like, why does this always happen to me? Can you explain this to me? Why is it always, I just try to mind my own business. I don't want to be the center of attention, but I look up and there's six of these ladies are just staring at me with their mimosas, and they stopped talking then. I don't know what was going on. They just were looking at me. I'm like, what do you want? It's always something with me. I don't know what it is. People are drawn to me for good and for bad, for better or for worse. They stop and they stare, and I don't know what it is. Is there some kind of sign above my head that I can't see that just says, look at me? I really try to mind my own business, because I love people so much, as you can tell from the show. All I've done is complain. But I really do. I love most people. No, I love everyone. It's just, sometimes they make it harder. Some people make it harder than others, but that's okay. I'm not saying I'm some prize either, but by the same token, it's like, can I just eat my food with peace without you people staring at me and laughing afterwards? What were you laughing at? What did I do? What did I do? I mean, I'm a funny guy, I think, but am I that funny? Funny how? Well, I digress. What can you do? What else is going on? I saw this video of this Greek. There's a Greek page on Instagram, and it was a wonderful video. It was this guy. He was 100 years old, and he was dancing at the Panieri. And I said, this is a great video. I mean, the guy he was 100 years old. He moved better than most people do at 50 years old, or at 30 years old, or at 40 years old. The guy could move. I mean, this is what the Greek lifestyle does to you. You could be 100 years old. There's an island in Greece, I think it's Ikaria. They live to be 100 something. They have a good life. They walk everywhere. They eat good fresh food from the Mediterranean. They have a nice family life, a nice friend group, a nice community. It does you wonders. They have a simple life, simple village life, but they live a long time. They're happy people. They got a great community. And why is it there? You could have a guy like that. He gets up there and he dances like he's half his age, and I just think that says a lot about the Greek lifestyle, the Greek culture, and the Greek, the spirit. I want to go move to Greece and live a nice life. Maybe as a goat herder, maybe as a mastika farmer or a fisherman or something. Half the time I really consider that. I don't know if I would be able to assimilate as easily. I should probably learn how to actually speak Greek. That would be a good start. But one of these days I could see myself just moving over there and just having a simple life. What's not to like? Nice food, nice people, good weather, ouzo. I mean, it's a good life there. You know. What can I say? That's it. Okay, that's it. As my friend Angela says on YouTube, this great Greek YouTuber, you should really watch her stuff. She's very funny. Look up Angela's mom on YouTube. She's hilarious. She goes, okay, that's it. That's it. But nice shout out there to Angela. What else is going on? I was sitting in the sauna yesterday. The first time I ever been into one of those, it was quite nice actually. You sweat it all out. I'm talking about eating, and then you sweat it out. You sweat out the toxins and the everything. You try to sweat it out. I sweat so much in there. It was wonderful. I was sitting in there. It was 145, 150 degrees, whatever it was, and I was watching The Godfather because it was on, and I was watching it, and I was so amazed by that movie, and I hadn't watched it. Obviously, I watched it. Probably I don't know. I've watched it probably 15 times in my life, but I hadn't seen it now in probably 4 years, 5 years, and I was just amazed. I forgot about how good it was because you think, yeah, it's good. The Godfather, everyone knows that, but it really is that good. And say what you want about Al Pacino and the movies that he does now, and the movies he did in the '90s, and whatever. I don't. The guy could act. I think he can still act. He's still good. The guy can act. And, I mean, nobody... No, you can watch the scene where he goes and he kills Salazzo, the Turk. And he kills the police captain, McCluskey. You watch that scene. He plays the whole scene with his eyes. Just watch his eyes, and it tells you everything you need to know about what he's thinking, how he feels, what the tension is, what the scene is like. He does it all with his eyes. It's amazing. And I have to give credit to Francis Ford Coppola too, because the way he builds the tension in that scene, there's no music the whole scene, and the tension builds up because of how awkward it is. You hear the sounds of the people eating in the background. You hear the sounds of the waiter. He takes forever to uncork the wine. You hear the cork go, and then it pops, and you hear them speaking Italian to each other, or rather, I think it's Sicilian more accurately. It's more of a dialect. And it just builds the tension. And you see, and when he goes to the bathroom to get the gun out from behind the toilet, you hear the train go by, and it's building up this tension, these noises and these sounds, and the eeriness and the quietness of it. And he goes and he sits down, and that's really when he starts acting just with his eyes, and it's amazing. I don't think he moves at all until he finally gets up and he shoots them. But it's surprising, but it's not surprising. You know what's going to happen, but it's so shocking just of how meticulously they built the tension and how well Pacino plays it. Everybody plays it good. It's a great movie. And then you hear the music as soon as he's done. He walks out. And you hear that dun 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 dun, and the great Nino Rota wrote the score, and then it goes into that great sequence which I like. It's the it has a newspaper headlines and it's intercut with the guys they're in the mob war, so they're like they say they go to the mattresses, and it has Coppola's dad playing the piano, that out of tune piano, and he wrote that little ditty that he's playing, I think, on the spot. But it's a good movie. I don't need to tell anyone that, but it's better than you remember, which is even saying something. And I read the book too. I read the book twice, and the book, it gives you more backstory, but there's also this weird side plot with Johnny Fontaine that just goes on way too long, if you ask me. And I think in some ways the movie's better than the book, but the book gives you more backstory, more knowledge. And then I read the prequel, which was based off of an unfinished screenplay by Mario Puzo. Or maybe it was finished and it just never got picked up. It was called The Family Corleone. And then Sonny's the main character in that one. So that's worth the read as well, if you like that. But anyway, good movie. I've actually watched quite a few movies recently that I haven't talked about. I saw Killers of the Flower Moon, the new Scorsese movie. He's my favorite director, so I had to go see it. And it had Leo DiCaprio and De Niro, and it was the first time that they starred in a feature film together with Scorsese. But Lily Gladstone really stole the show. She played Leo's wife in the movie, and the movie is really long. It's 3.5 hours, and it's not an easy watch. It's a nasty story, it's a grisly story, but it's a real story. And I think it's an important story to tell, just of how horrible these people were manipulated by De Niro's character and DiCaprio's, and the acting is very, very good, and the way that it builds the tension. I mean, it's hard to watch at times because just of how horrible they were to these poor people, and it was just especially to DiCaprio to do the things that he did to his wife, and he claimed that he loved her, or he supposedly did, but he did all these horrible things to her, basically killed her. She lives to the end of the movie, but it's something. It's a good movie. It's not a fun movie to watch. It's not a movie that I'm in a rush to see again, but it was a well-told story, and I think Scorsese did what he wanted to do with it. And it's interesting. There's very little music throughout the whole movie. There's some incidental music, within the scenes, but as far as the score goes, there's really nothing. It's kind of like pulsing. It's very steady, low. It's very low key score. It's almost like The Thing, the score to that movie. Just kind of like repeated motifs, and it's a good movie. I mean, I liked it. I thought it was good. I thought Lily Gladstone should win the Oscar. I think she will win the Oscar. But then again, who cares about the Oscars, because it's all a big show anyway. But if someone has to win, I hope it's her. DiCaprio did a good job. His character had what I like to call diarrhea of the mouth. He just, or not so much that, but what he had was what I like to call, it's the last person in the ear disease. And it was whoever the last person in his ear was, he did that. So it was somebody was manipulating him, whether it be De Niro's character, and he was good in the movie too. It was weird hearing him with a southern accent, or Midwestern accent rather. He did a good job, but DiCaprio's character was fascinating. I mean, he was really dumb, but he was dumb, but he was smart in some ways, but really dumb in other ways. I mean, he kind of brought the whole thing crashing down at the end. It was because of him that they called on to what was really going on. But yeah, he was really dumb. I don't think he was smart at all, actually. But what he had was that last person in his ear disease, and it was just whoever was the last person. It was usually De Niro. He did that, and it took him down a dark path. I mean, he's responsible for his own actions. He did the crimes. He did the horrible things. But it was interesting to see, because at one point he's going to testify, and then they get a hold of him, and then he's not going to testify, and then he's going to testify again. So it's a good movie. You should watch it. I saw Napoleon, which was not quite as good. I don't really know what the point is of that movie. I don't know what they were trying to say. I like Ridley Scott. I like Alien. I like Gladiator. I like The Martian. What else did he do? I like all those movies. This one, I don't know. I don't know what he was trying. I just don't know what he was trying to do. It was like, did they want us to take him seriously because he was kind of a joke in the movie? Joaquin Phoenix, I mean, perfectly cast, I will say that. But a lot of it was scenes with him and Josephine, and they were really cringy and awkward, and just it was not romantic at all. Let's just say it was really hard to watch and very cringy and very awkward. You were not overly fond of either of them by the time the movie wrapped. But there were some things that were done well, particularly the scene of the Battle of Austerlitz. I thought that was well done. It was kind of that was a good scene. That was well done. The ending, there was a scene between Napoleon and Wellington, which allegedly never happened. They never met. But I thought it was a good scene. I mean, you could take creative liberties here and there if you're trying to tell a point. I think not so much. I mean, he went too far with it. He had some really weird things in there, but that scene I didn't mind so much. I thought that was well acted and well written and well done. But man, the scenes with him and Josephine, it was just weird and uncomfortable and yeah. Yeah. I did like the scene of the coronation, though. That was pretty well done. It looked like the famous painting in the Louvre that I've seen with my own eyes, and I'm fortunate they've seen it. I was surprised they never mentioned that. It's kind of a funny thing. The Mona Lisa, the most famous painting ever, basically, and it hung in Napoleon's bedroom for some time, which is definitely a status thing, but they never mentioned that. They never had that in the movie. They should have had a shot where it was like hanging like kind of nonchalantly, and that would kind of. I was surprised that they left that detail out. But what do I know? It was a 2.5 hour movie. You're telling the history of Napoleon. Some things are going to get left out, but it changed a lot, and the tone of the movie was weird. Some of the action was good, but overall, I'd say it was a mixed bag, and I'm in no rush to watch that again. But I tell you what, actually, my favorite movie that I saw this year, I don't think it was the best, but I think it was my favorite, was the new Godzilla movie. It was really, really good. It was Japanese made and produced. It was in Japanese. You had to read the subtitles, and I'm sure my brother Leo had fun with that. He said he could keep up, so I guess his reading skills have improved a lot. He must be a good reader, but the movie is good. I like the movie. It had a real story. A good story. I liked it. The acting was good. It was well written. Godzilla was freaking terrifying. I mean, in some movies, he's kind of like the good guy, because you get Mothra in there and these other monsters and whatnot. And he's kind of like he's like, well, he's not really a hero, but he's not as bad as these monsters. But in this movie, he's the freaking villain, and he's genuinely scary. I mean, this is not. He's scary in the movie. But the movie is well acted. I like the message because the story is that the main character was a kamikaze pilot. It takes place right after World War II. He was a kamikaze pilot, and he didn't want to do it. So he pretended like his plane had malfunctions, and he basically backed out of his mission. And he gets back to Tokyo, and it's been bombed, and the people basically tell him, like, why are you still alive? You're a kamikaze pilot. You're the reason we lost, basically. And which of course was not very good for him. And so he has this complex, this survivor's guilt, this feeling like, well, he should have done more, yada yada yada. But he meets this lady who she's this woman in the village. And she is taking in a child, which isn't even hers, but she's been watching it, and they kind of live together, and they kind of take up this child. But the whole movie, he feels like. So what happens is that when he backs out of the mission, and he's at the airfield, and he's acting like the plane's malfunctioning, and then Godzilla attacks the base, and he can't pull the trigger on Godzilla, so he feels guilty because everybody else died. Or almost everybody. So he feels A, guilty that he didn't die in the war, and B, guilty that he didn't, that all these other guys died and he survived for Godzilla. So he basically has this whole complex where he feels like he needs to die, basically, or to sacrifice himself or whatever. So Anyway, it's a good movie. In the end, I mean, I'm going to spoil it here, but I think it's a good thing. In the end, he decides they basically everyone that was mad at him, they kind of turn around and say, you know what, you need people need you. You need to be around. You know, don't do this. Don't sacrifice yourself to try to stop Godzilla because he gets to that point. You know, we want you around. We like you. We love you. We need you around. I really like that. I thought it was a good story. It was a good message. It gave the guy something to live for. He went back and he raised this kid and he met this woman and it was a nice story. I really liked it. It had influences of I think Jaws as well. There was a lot of that, and it was just a good movie. Honestly, it was well done all around. A good Godzilla movie. Who would have thought? um, I mean, I love Godzilla, but it's not like high art usually. But this movie was really good. Godzilla Minus One, it was called. Very good. Very, very good. Very good. Yeah, so those were the movies I saw. I meant to see Ferrari, but I didn't get around to it. I'll have to watch it when it starts streaming. But um, yeah, I would say watch Godzilla. That was a good movie. I really liked that one. And the Scorsese movie's good, and Napoleon. But I'm trying to think what else I saw this year. Oppenheimer, I also saw I saw the Indiana Jones movie. So if I had to rank them, I would say personal list, not necessarily the best, because I think Oppenheimer was the best one I saw. But as far as my favorites go, I would say one would be, I think Godzilla was actually my favorite, and then Oppenheimer, and then I would put Scorsese Killers of the Flower Moon, and then the bottom two, I guess Napoleon and then Indiana Jones. It's kind of like those two are kind of at the bottom. I mean, Napoleon wasn't necessarily bad. It was just kind of aimless and meandering, and I didn't really know what the point was. I didn't know what they were trying to say about Napoleon. Interesting movie. I'm not saying don't watch it. I'm just saying I'm having a hard time grasping what the goal was. There's going to be a director's cut, which is going to be 4 hours long, and I don't know if I have the patience to sit through it. But I encourage you to watch it if you're at all interested in it. I mean, it's not a bad. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I'm just saying it's mixed. Not good, not bad, but mixed. I had a listener question. Somebody basically wrote in, one of my commenters. I think Maria is her name. Thank you, Maria. Or maybe it is. For some reason, your username doesn't pop up. It pops up like a bunch of letters and numbers. I can't tell what your actual name is, so I apologize if that's not it, but I think it's Maria. Maria asked me what would be my operatic dream role. It's a good question. I would say there's some great roles. There's some big roles in opera. I mean, there's some seriously long, heavy bass roles. A lot of the Wagner operas, Sarastro, this and that. I don't necessarily want to sing those roles because I think I just don't think that they're very good. I don't think it's very good music. I think it's really dry and boring in a lot of points because you might have a lot of material, but if you don't get the moments, I mean, what's the point? I mean, I'm thinking Wagner, Wotan's a great role. Alberic's a great role, but I mean, I think Alberic might be a little too high for me, and Wotan definitely right now too high for me. But who knows? Maybe 30 years from now, assuming that I would ever be in the position to sing Wotan, I really like that role. Very interesting, especially with his arc throughout the Ring cycle. There's 4 operas, and he's in the first 3, and he's mentioned in the last one. But anyway, that's a great role. Fafner would be fun. The giant dragon, that's a Wagner role. But I mean, those wouldn't be my first choice. I guess my first choice would be something like, I like Osmine in The Abduction from the Seraglio. I like Philip II in Don Carlo. That would probably be choice number 1. Any of the bass roles in Don Carlo are good. Philip II, the Grand Inquisitor, Carlo V. I mean, those are all, I think, really good roles. Even Carlo V is a small role, but it has a good moment. I like a role where you can really sink your teeth into it. It gives you some good material, A, to act, and B, to really good music and really I like loud and kind of booming those opportunities. So and Verdi writes a ton of them. I mean, Verdi wrote some of the best music for the bass voice, and maybe that's why he's my favorite composer. I don't know, but he wrote really good stuff. I mean, you could go to almost any Verdi opera, and the bass role is almost always fantastic. I'm thinking Spada Fucile from Rigoletto. I mean, that's a great role. He doesn't have a lot of stage time. He has the duet in Act One, which is all of I don't even think it's 5 minutes, and then he's kind of in and out in Act Three. He has a storm trio, which is a good bit, but I mean, what a presence! I mean, Verdi gives him this really menacing, dark presence, and then another role that I think is great with about as much stage time as the Commendatore and Don Giovanni. I would love to sing that role. I mean, because he has the moment. I mean, he's in the beginning, which is I think a great scene in itself. I think that's probably one of the best operas ever, maybe the best. But then in the end, he has the moment, and the moment that everyone remembers is Don Giovanni a cenar teco min vidassi. And I'm half singing, so please don't judge that because in real life, it would be much louder. But that great moment where the overture comes back and he's singing it, and it's the reckoning. It's the best scene in the work. It's really something. That's a great role. Also in Don Giovanni Leporello, I would love to sing that role. A lot of personality. I sang parts of it. I've sang bits and pieces of Leporello, but never the whole thing. I haven't sang very many complete roles, if I'm being honest with you. That's a great role. I mean, there's some small roles. I mean, if you go to Monteverdi's operas, Carante, the ferryman of the dead, that's a great role. He has two little speeches. It's about 60 seconds worth of singing, maybe 2 minutes, but it's really, I would love to sing that role. Seneca in the Coronation of Poppaea is a magnificent role, and he has a real arc. And that death scene, it's kind of like the whole work is almost built around that because it leads up, and Seneca's like the last character that might be able to stop what's going on with Nero, but obviously he dies, as I just said, and he has this wonderful, I mean, the stakes can't get higher in that scene. And it's this magnificent piece of writing that Monteverdi's put together, this complex character. And I mean, you think about the character development that he put into that. You know, this was the 1600s he wrote this piece, and it's just amazing what he did with that role. I would love to sing that role. Great music, great character development, great drama. Boris Godunov, of course. There's a lot of roles in that opera. The title role would be magnificent. There's a lot of roles. Even smaller roles. I think Angelotti in Tosca, I think that's a great role. Collina in La Boheme. I mean, he has one of the best moments in the opera with Vecchia Zimara. I mean, it's a wonderful moment. But yeah, so it's not necessarily what role is the biggest, what role is the longest, but it's really more about the quality over the quantity for me. So I would say Verdi wrote really good stuff. Mozart wrote good stuff for basses, especially. Monteverdi, only 3 of his operas survive, but there's good stuff there. And Bellini wrote some nice stuff for bass. Rossini, of course. Dr. Bartolo, I'm sorry, Don Basilio. Oh, both of them, actually. Both of them are really good. Dr. Bartolo and Don Basilio are really good roles. Yeah, I mean, there's more than you think for bass. But I would say those that I mentioned. There's not one, I mean, there's not like one that I have to sing this role. Because, I mean, singing is like my hobby. So, you know, I sing what I can, and I'm grateful for the opportunities I have to sing. But there are dream roles, so to speak. But I guess that kind of gives an idea. But Verdi is my favorite. I mean, he really writes the best for the bass. I think he writes the best opera, period. I would say him and Mozart and Monteverdi and Handel and Puccini, of course, and Bellini, Rossini. Those are all great composers. So I hope that answers your question. You know, there you go. But good question, important question. I love to sing, and hopefully I'll sing them all at one point. Who knows? You never know. But who knows? But I think that's going to do it. I've talked for a while, and I'm quite parched, I would say. But I will see you next time, and I'm going to try to do one sooner, but I'm sorry I got carried away. It's been a busy time. Busy time. I've been busy, which is, thank God I'm busy. I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be busy with my career and my business, and also with other things going on and with singing. Thank God I'm busy. I'd rather be busy than not. I'd rather be productive than not productive, honestly. Things are good. And I'll leave it at that. So I will talk to you next time, and I hope you have a great night, and see you next time. Adios. Thank you.